Listen with me for a moment. Do you hear that? It's quiet here. Yes, it's midweek here in our church sanctuary, First Presbyterian Church of West Plains. And often this room is quiet midweek, especially in the morning hours and maybe the early afternoon. But it's never really been this quiet. In this season of social distancing, a lot of our social interaction and the kinds of ministries that require our presence one with another and fellowship, a lot of that has had to take a back seat to other types of mission and ministry. But even in the midst of the quiet, and perhaps some of us aren't able to come to church, even though we might be spacing out in the pews, one pew apart, 6 or 8 feet apart between family groups. We can't be here because perhaps we're taking care of loved ones and friends that are high risk. But we never cease to need a dose of God's Word. I'd like to share with you today from Psalm 119, verses 129 through 133. Hear the word of the Lord. Let God's Spirit speak. Your decrees are wonderful. Therefore my soul keeps them. The unfolding of your words gives light. It imparts understanding to the simple. With open mouth I pant because I long for your commandments. Turn to me and be gracious to me, as is your custom toward those who love your name. Keep my steps steady according to your promise, and never let iniquity have dominion over me. As God's people, we need to be refreshed, informed, encouraged, and challenged by God's Word in every season, even during times when social distancing is a necessity. There's a lot of good Bible programs out there. I like this cell phone for that reason. You can find the daily lectionary by just tapping that into the phone, or a variety of different reading programs. Or, if you'd like, you can do it old school. This never fails and never runs out of batteries. And there's a lot of good translations out there. New Revised Standard, New King James Version, New International Version. There's even some of these Bibles in translations of our modern language, paraphrases that we can understand, because a lot of what's printed there isn't the day-to-day language that we speak in. One of my favorites, of course, is the Message. We do need God's Word. We need to be fed by it. And it's a good thing as we read to ask ourselves, how is God speaking to me through this Word today? What part of it has grabbed my eye, my conscience? And perhaps we read a small portion and we can't answer the question. But often by the end of the day, we find that we found the answer. Somehow it spoke to us, carried us through, challenged us to help another, to say a word of encouragement, or to be encouraged when we ourselves are challenged in such ways we're not sure we'll make it through the day. In the midst of such quiet, God's Word speaks loudly, clearly, compassionately to us. Delve in. Dig deep. Drink in God's Word. Let it speak to you. And as you move through your day, you'll find that word doesn't only speak to you, but to those around you whom you interact with, even when we have to be socially distant.